Hi, my name's Jim Jordan, and this is a short video that I've made just to explain to you a little bit about working with a buyer's agent. And I call this a home buying consultation. Um, so, as we go through this process, I'm going to find out a little bit about you and what are some of the must-haves in your new home. How many bedrooms, bathrooms, levels, the location for your new home, the price range, any special features that you're looking for, and also any things that you would like to have. Maybe they're not deal breakers, but there are good features that you would like to have in your new home, and also find out about any neighborhood amenities that are important to you, such as neighborhood pool or clubhouse, tennis, things of that sort. And it's a good idea to find out what the time frame for your move is so that we can line up our showings with the proper expectations. And then finally, I will need to know how you're going to finance your purchase, whether you will be paying cash or getting a mortgage for your property. Some sellers do require that we provide them with either proof of funds or pre-approval for a mortgage before we show their home. Now, most buyers don't require that, but some, or most sellers don't, but some do. So if we run across that, then we'll have to handle that at that point in time. So that's some of the things that I will need to know about you. Also, some additional things are, the best method to contact you, text, email, or phone call. If there's more than one of you in your family, who will be the primary contact during this whole process, and preferences on how the home search should be conducted in terms of how you would like the listings sent to you, the preferred neighborhoods that you're interested in, so that I could research them for any off-market properties. And we also have a real estate app that might be applicable for you to use. Now, my goal in all this is to help you get the most house for your money and to give you peace of mind throughout the process, and to watch out for your best interest in the real estate transaction. So in order to do that, I give you a little bit of background about me. In 2003, I was licensed as a real estate broker, and I joined the FC Tucker Company. During my time with FC Tucker, I was $1 million producer. I run the Realty Award for FC Tucker, and I was on the President's Advisory Council during that period of time. In 2011, I was licensed as a principal broker. And in 2015, I purchased a real estate franchise called Pro Realty. And at that time, I had 5 agents. And then in 2017, I purchased a Realty World Indy franchise and grew my brokerage to 14 agents, which is the number of agents that we currently have. Now, prior to my career in real estate, I did have a career in business management and ran as a branch manager and general manager, ran branch offices for Fortune 500 companies in the wireless communications industry, as well as in the computer training industry. So why work with a buyer's agent? Why is it important for you to work with a buyer's agent? First of all, we can provide our services at a low or no cost fee to you, just depends. Our fees are often paid by the seller of the property, and mainly these fees can be negotiated in the purchase agreement. Um, and it ensures that you get proper representation in the uh, transaction. We're looking out for your best interests in the transaction. It can save you time, one-stop shopping. I can show you all the listings that are on the market. And it can save you money because I can help you determine true market value for the home that you're considering. And I can advocate on your side. I help you navigate everything to the closing table and help you with the home search by giving you the best information available. So what do I actually do? Well, I meet with you to determine your needs. I generate the necessary initial paperwork and disclosures. I explain agency and the home buying process. I set up a search in the Brokers Listing Cooperative, which is what we call the MLS here in the Indianapolis area. And I set up email alerts to alert you and notify you of new listings coming on the market. I search for off-market listings for you. I research listings that you're interested in seeing and prepare property reports for each of those listings. I print out and review seller's disclosure for you. I schedule showings to meet your schedule, and I confirm showing approvals with the showing service that we use to schedule those showings. And I drive to the property, of course, and show the property to you, explaining observations about the property to help you make an informed decision about a particular property that you're looking for. I also research and determine fair market value for properties that might be of interest to you. I communicate with the listing agent via phone and email and text during the initial offer phase, and I prepare a written offer for you on a property that you're interested in purchasing using Indiana Association of Realtors approved contracts. I review the offer with you and obtain the proper signatures to present that offer. I provide copies of signed and executed paperwork to you of any documents that you sign during this process. Once we have written an offer, I transmit that offer and the associated documents to the seller's agent and confirm with them receipt of our offer. I negotiate with the seller's agent who's representing the seller to get an acceptance or a counter offer. And we negotiate until we have an agreement that is acceptable between the seller and yourself. I also explain any counter offers or other contract terms to you. Once we have an accepted offer, I hand carry the earnest money to the seller's broker in line with the requirements of the purchase agreement. I provide your lender with executed copies of the agreements if there is a lender involved. I provide the title company with contact information and their requested documents, and I order title if applicable, if I'm the one ordering title. I provide information concerning home inspectors to you so that you can get your home properly inspected. I review the inspection report once it's been completed and discuss potential seller repairs and prepare an inspection response for you on your behalf. I transmit inspection response to the seller's agent and negotiate acceptance of that response or deal with additional responses that the seller may offer. I make sure that we follow all the contract timelines in the purchase agreement to make sure that we don't violate any of the terms and conditions of the purchase agreement. I review title work for you once it's available and make sure that there's nothing that is preventing a clear title to the property. And if there are any issues, I discuss those with you. I review the survey when it's available and note anything on the survey that you may need to pay attention to. I also obtain HOA documents, homeowners association documents from the seller's agent, and I transmit those to you to make sure that you have those documents. I monitor any agreed upon inspection repairs with the seller's agent and obtain receipts for those repairs. I schedule closing date and time with you and the seller's agents and sellers. I review the closing disclosure just before closing for accuracy and to confirm any of the prorated tax calculations. And I attend closing with you to advise you during closing. So, that's a lot of things. But congratulations, now you're a new homeowner once you've completed the closing process. At that point, I'm going to confirm that you have contact information for the seller for any after closing questions. I'm going to remind you to confirm your filing of your homestead exemption on the property if you're planning on using this as your primary residence. And I advise you of that 30 days after closing. And then I remain available to answer questions concerning your new home and provide ongoing information about the appreciation of your property. So those are the steps basically involved in a simple transaction. If it's a more complex transaction, then there could be many more steps in the process. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about my fiduciary responsibility to you as your real estate agent. I owe you disclosure to tell you anything that I know about the property that would be pertinent to the transaction. I also owe you confidentiality in that I won't reveal to the sellers any information that would give them an advantage in any negotiations. I owe obedience to you. I will do anything that you ask me to do as long as it's legal. I owe accountability to you so that you know that I'm working for you and watching out for your best interest. Same thing with care and loyalty. My job is to watch out for your best interest in the real estate transaction. One of the things that we need to talk about is agency and how agency works. In a real estate transaction, we typically have two parties, a seller and a buyer. And so the seller has a house that they want to sell, and a buyer has a house that they want to buy. And if we illustrate that on a tennis court, the first kind of representation we have is an unrepresented sale. So this is a sale where the seller represents themselves and the buyer represents themselves in the contract. So each of you are watching out for your own best interest. You do not have a representative or realtor representing you in the transaction. And that's most oftenly called a for sale by owner transaction. Then there's seller's agency, and that's where a seller hires a real estate agent to list their house and sell it. So if we do the tennis illustration, the seller then hires a buyer's agent or a seller's agent, seller's agent to be their advocate, to work for them during the real estate transaction. And so the seller's agent's job is to watch out for the best interest of the sellers. So what about the buyer's agent? Well, the buyers can hire an agent to watch out for their best interest in the transaction. And that agent is called a buyer's agent. And that's how I would be representing you in the purchase of the future home for you. I will represent you as a buyer's agent. And so my job is to watch out for your best interest in the transaction, not the best interests of the seller. They have their own agent to watch out for their best interests. My job is to watch out for your best interests. Now, there is another kind of agency called limited agency. I don't like this kind of agency because the same agent then works for buyer and seller. And that means that the agent is playing both sides of the net and cannot fully represent the seller or the buyer because you're representing both. And so that's an awkward situation to be in. And so I try not to be a limited agency agent, but that's where one agent represents both the sellers and the buyers in a real estate transaction. That does require the informed consent of both the buyer and seller for that type of agency to occur. Now, what about real estate websites? Beware, real estate websites are actually real estate brokerages. And so beware when you're working for or shopping for a house on a real estate website. If you give them your name and email, they consider you a client, and you may end up without a local agent looking out for your best interests. Also, their model is to monetize people who visit their websites for information. And then your information is sold as a lead to one of their agents. And that will result in you being contacted by other agents and your information given to other real estate agents. Information from the Brokers Listing Cooperative or the MLS is the most up-to-date and timely information available about listings, and that is the information that I will be providing to you. Also, people often ask me, well, what about open houses and builders models? Remember, my responsibility is to watch out for your best interests in a real estate transaction. At open houses, just simply let the agent know that you're working with me. You can give them my phone number, my contact information, and they will contact me then for questions, and they won't be bothering you. Also, with a salesperson in a builder's model, remember they work for the builder, not for you. So you can give them one of my business cards, or you can let them know my contact information and that you're working with me, and register me as your agent, and then I'll be able to work with them and watch out for your best interest in the transaction. And this eliminates all the sales pressure from these salespeople that are in the builders model or work for the builders. Now, I depend on you. A buyer's agent can't work for free. I don't receive a salary. I'm responsible for all my expenses, my brokerage fees, my license fees and memberships, my continuing education, my earned insurance, my errors and emissions and automobile insurance, gasoline, automobile maintenance. And I'm going to spend a significant amount of time finding you a home. And basically, I'm not paid until we successfully close the transaction. So I'm depending on you throughout this transaction process. Now, in July of 2024, the state of Indiana passed a law that requires a buyer agency agreement or contract for every buyer that is working with a real estate agent. So before I can work with you, I have to have a signed buyer agency contract. Now, it confirms our agency relationship. It's for a set period of time, usually 6 months to a year. It specifies the compensation that I earn and that you may be liable for paying. It outlines the specifics of the home you are looking for, and it may be amended by mutual agreement. So we can change this agreement at any time by mutual agreement between the two of us, and it may also be terminated by mutual agreement. So even though we may have a 6-month contract or a 1-year contract, if I'm not doing the job for you and you would like to terminate the agreement, we can do that by mutual agreement. Also, the compensation that I will earn, we will try our best to get the seller to pay that compensation. Most sellers are more than willing to pay buyer agency commissions and or compensation. And so we will ask the seller on our purchase offer to pay my compensation so that you don't have to pay it out of pocket. And all agents that are working with buyers in the state of Indiana are required to have a buyer agency contract. So it's not just me or my brokerage, but it's any real estate agent in Indiana is required to have this agreement for any buyers that they are actively working with. So this is going to be a team effort. I'm here to help. You know, my goal is to work with you to help you buy your home for the lowest possible price in the shortest amount of time. And we can succeed with this, with a team effort. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I will also send you a copy of the buyer agency contract so that you can review that before we start working together. And I look forward to helping you find a new home in Hamilton County or the northern Indianapolis area. Hope you have a great day.